Okay, so in this video we will discuss on the range of vegetative structures in Chlorophyceae. Okay, that is green algae. Now we have already studied about the life cycle of some of the green algae, that is Chara and Edugonium. So here in this video we will take a look at the different the range of vegetative structures, okay, which can be seen in the members of green algae, that is Chlorophyceae. So the members of the green algae, they are well known for their extraordinary variety of forms and shapes, and also of the organization of the plant body. So they show a wide range of variations in their vegetative structures. You will see here in this video that they show wide range of variations from unicellular structures to multicellular forms. Okay, so let us take a look at these one by one. Now the first one here is the unicellular thallus. Okay, just from the name itself, uni means one. So these are the simplest form, which consists of only one cell. Okay, the thallus is only a single cell. And the cell here, it may be motile, or it may be non-motile, or it may be amoeboid. So talking about the motile here, as you can see, that is the motile unicellular thallus. These forms, they are unicellular and they remain motile. Okay, the cell, it may be spherical, it may be oval, or it may be pear shaped. And here the example that I'm showing you is of Chlamydomonas, and this species Chlamydomonas is a green algae. It is spherical, as you can see. It is unicellular, uninucleate with cup-shaped chloroplast. Okay, it has a cup shape. This one, you can see this chloroplast is cup-shaped, and it is furnished with two flagella in the anterior. These two are the flagella which will help the cell to swim. So the cell, it swims with the help of flagella. Now coming to the second one, that is non-motile. Non-motile unicellular thallus, it means that the thallus here, it is small spherical cell again. For example, as you can see here in this case of Chlorella species, okay, Chlorella, the plant body is a small spherical cell, but it lacks flagella. As you can see, there is no flagella in its body, so it is non-motile, it cannot move. And coming to so that is the unicellular thallus. Next, we have the second type, that is the colonial thallus. So again, from the name itself, colonial, meaning these cells, they form colonies. Okay, so many of the green algae, they usually have a thallus consisting of a loose assemblage. You can see here a loose assemblage of cells, and these cells are generally held together in a gelatinous envelope. Okay, so this is a gelatinous envelope which held these cells together inside, and these cells together is known as a colony. And the cells in the colony, they have little or no dependence upon each other. And as you can see here, that the colony, it may be like a plate, or it may be a hollow spheres, and also motile or non-motile. So talking about the motile colony thallus, okay, the first one, that is motile. Motile, again, you can understand that they can move. So as you can see here, this is the example of volvox. The cells, they have these flagella. Okay, these are the flagella which help the cells to move. So the cells, they are motile. Now it consists of a definite number of motile unicellular cells held together by a common mucilaginous sheath, okay, or a covering. And the individual cells, they are independent of each other, and they usually act together to bring about the movement of this entire colony. Okay, so together they will act to bring about the movement of this entire colony. Example here, there are other examples which has this motile colony thallus, okay, like gonium and pandorina. These two species, they have this kind of vegetative structure in their body. And here you can see this is the hollow spherical colony of volvox, which represents the most highly developed mobile colonial thallus. Okay, and it is usually made up of 500 to 50,000 cells in a colony. Now, next one, talking about the non-motile colony thallus. Here the non-motiles, they are again form a colony. You can see many colony of cells here. They are held together to form colonies with either a definite or indefinite number of cells, and these cells, they lack flagella. They are free floating colonies. Okay, for example, the hydrodiction and also pedestrium. This one you can see here, the colony of pedestrium. This form, okay, the non-motile colonial thallus, which is free floating, is also referred to as the coccoid form. So coming to the third type of vegetative structures that can be seen in Chlorophyceae is Palmelloid forms. Okay, sorry, it is okay, this one, Palmelloid forms. Now, Palmella stage is usually a temporary phase in the life history of many green algae. For example, in Chlamydomonas also, you can see this stage, okay, the Palmelloid form, but it is not permanent, it is temporary, just for some times. But in certain members of Chlorophyceae such as Xanthophyceae and Chrysophyceae, this state of existence, it becomes permanent. Okay, you can see this permanent stage, that is the Palmelloid form. And here in this type of vegetative structure, as you can see that the plant body, it remains embedded, okay, in this common gelatinous matrix of reproduction. And this is in the case of Sphaerocystis. Okay, there is an algae named Sphaerocystis where this stage is permanent. But here I am showing you of Chlamydomonas, the Palmella stage. But in case of Chlamydomonas, just remember, it is just temporary. It is not permanent. And next, the fourth type here that we have is the multicellular filamentous thallus. Now, in some species of green algae, as in the case of Edogonium, you had already seen that the cells, they are arranged in linear rows. Okay, here just in this case, they are arranged in linear rows, and these linear rows of cells are called filaments. Now, the filaments is the result of repeated cell division. Remember, these cells in between these intercalary cells, they will divide repeatedly to give rise to this filament of these non-motile cell in between. In a single plane, they will divide, and this filament will elongate and will continue to grow due to the division of these cells. And the daughter cells, they remain in a chain, okay, united, forming a simple filament. So the best example here you can think of is of Edogonium. And again, in multicellular filamentous thallus, we have simple filaments. Okay, simple filaments, that is the unbranched filament. Now, not only in Edogonium, but in case of other species such as Spirogyra, okay, in Spirogyra, you will find that a plant body, it consists of cells arranged like this, okay, which are arranged from end to end, firmly held together, forming a filament. And that plant body, it is long, it is unbranched, just as in the case of Edogonium. It is unbranched, and all the cells, you will see that they are alike and they are independent of one another. That means all the cells in between in the filament, they can divide independently. They are not dependent on each other. And another type of algae, green algae, that is Ulothrix. In case of Ulothrix, one cell of the filament, one of the cell of the filament, it will give rise to rhizoidal cell. It will get modified into a rhizoidal cell, which will help in the attachment. And in case of Edogonium, here you see that there is further differentiation as compared to Spirogyra and Ulothrix. In Edogonium, the cells, they are differentiated into rhizoidal cells here, which will form the whole vase. Then the vegetative cells, okay, these are the vegetative cells. For example, this one here is the vegetative cells, and these which have the cap cell, they are known as the cap cells, and they function as reproductive organs. Okay, so next, this is the simple filament. So next we have the branch filament. Okay, next we have the branch filaments. The branch filament is formed when an occasional cell, okay, for example this one here, the occasional cell in a filament, it divides in a second plane. Okay, it divides in a second plane, and the branches does arise as the lateral growths. You can see this one also, it divides in this way to give rise to this lateral outgrowth from the main filament. So in this way, due to the lateral divisions, okay, they will give rise to the branches. And this is in the case of example of green algae, which show this type of body of vegetative structures. They are Cladophora. This one that you are seeing here is Cladospora, and we also have one more that is Bulbochaetae. So the next type we have is foliaceous thallus. Now in foliaceous thallus, here actually when cell division, it occurs in two planes, all right, both transverse and longitudinal. Okay, so both transverse and longitudinal, when the cell division, it occurs in both in the two planes in a cell of a simple filament. The result you can see is a thin, flat, plate-like thallus. Okay, for example, the best example of this type of vegetative structure is seen in ulva. Okay, this is the simple, thin, flat, plate-like thallus, which arise due to the division of the filament in two planes, both transverse and longitudinal. And the next one we have here is the massive parenchyma thallus. Now, massive parenchyma thallus, the best example is Cara. Now, in this type of algal thallus, what happened? The cells, they are divided in multi-directional planes, not only in two planes, but in multi-directional, means two or more plane, resulting in the formation of this massive, bulky parenchymatous thallus. Okay, that is, you can see 2 to 3 layers of cells or more layers of cells, which become foliose. Okay, foliose just like a leaf shaped and also flat. So the best example of this type of vegetative structure is in case of Cara. And the last type of this category, that is filamentous thallus, multicellular filamentous thallus we have here is the Heterotrichous filament. So this one, Heterotrichous filament, in this case, if you remember, just in the case of Ectocarpus and Polysiphonia, remember in Polysiphonia, but Polysiphonia is not a green algae, but I'm just giving you an example of Polysiphonia where the thallus is the basal portion of the thallus, it creeps along the substratum and is differentiated into a prostrate system and erect system. So the whole thallus or the whole vegetative structure is differentiated into a creeping system, or also known as the prostrate system, and the erect system. Okay, so from the prostrate system arise the upright filaments constituting the erect system, and the example of this type of type of vegetative structure in green algae is shown by this species, that is Drapalnal diopsis. Okay, or Drapalnaldia, you can see in this figure. Next, we have another type of vegetative structure, vegetative body, that is siphonaceous forms. Now, here in siphonaceous form, the unicellular thallus, okay, just a single cell, a unicellular thallus, it will enlarge to form a non-septate uninucleate or multinucleate sac-like or tubular structure. Okay, so you can see, for example, in this case, there is no septation. Okay, there is no separation in the cells. There is no septation, and the cell may be uninucleate or it may be multinucleate, and it may be sac-like or tubular structure, which is not divided into cells. Okay, it is not divided into cells in the somatic phase. Now, for example, in Characium, okay, in this algae, Characium, you will see that its body structure is tubular, okay, just like a tube. But in case of this one, you can see here, this is Acetabularia. In Acetabularia, you can see this is just like a tube and this is like an umbrella. So its shape is an umbrella shaped. Okay, so in both the cases, that is of this Acetabularia and Characium, the cells is usually uninucleate. That means it contains only a single nucleus, except at the reproductive phase when the nucleus will undergo division to form many nuclei, or else the cell is uninucleate, okay, except during reproductive phase. Now, in Protosiphon, another algae, that is Protosiphon, the thallus is again unseptate. There is no septation, there is no branching, it is unbranched, and also it is just like a tube. Okay, just like a tube, it is tubular, but in Protosiphon, many nuclei can be seen. Okay, it is multinucleate. And we have the last one. Okay, the type of vegetative structures that can be seen in Chlorophyceae is the Dendroid form. Here in the Dendroid form, the cells, the plant body, it usually appears like a tree under the microscope. Okay, it appears just like a tree under the microscope, and the individual cells, as you can see, they are jointed end to end by producing mucilage. Okay, a mucilaginous substance at their base, and which looks like a branch of tree. So this is a mucilaginous substance produced by these cells, and they stay close to each other, okay, appearing just like a branch of tree. So this type of thallus structure is known as the Dendroid form, as in the case of this species, Ecballocyctis. Okay, Ecballocyctis. So this is all about the range of vegetative structure in Chlorophyceae.